testing. So hopefully this audio is looking good thus far. I just think the audio is looking good. Alright, so thank you guys for joining back here to the stream. I'm so sorry about Monday not streaming on Monday, just because honestly, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I wasn't really feeling it at that point, so I didn't force myself to come up here and take a trade or anything like that. And I think that's really better, right? But today we're back. We had a solid week thus far, and just looking to continue overall for the week, right? So trades I'm looking at, right? In terms of setups, what I'm looking at is TJ buys, right? Now I did have a trade running here. Price is pulling down on me right now, so I might get stopped out of this position. But overall, I am looking to long the pound itself, and that's sort of like what I'm going with right now. So for me, JPY, I want to see a break above this area here, a price pull into this area, and then get an impulse continuation moving upwards. So this is what I'm looking for in GJ. I think you could just set a buy stop. Alright, and this is what I'm looking for mainly. Alright, we had this upward movement right now on GJ. Alright, so very strong bullish momentum. Yeah, so I got stopped out of that position. Kinda salty about it, but that's part of the whole trading thing. Alright, so price probably stopped me out. I'm gonna start pulling by at this point. The GBP has been coming down pretty strongly right now for whatever the reason. I don't have any fundamentals about this, right? Just price action being price action, I guess. I don't know. I tried to take a position here, but it didn't work out, I guess, apparently. So it is what it is. But overall, I am looking to still buy the pound itself, right? So on GJ, looking for price to come up. If we get a push above here, I do think we could get a continuation on the day, moving into these resistance areas or daily resistance zones right around this area here. So this is the idea for me for GJ currently. Excuse me. Alright, besides that, not much else to take a look at. Alright, I was looking to see what fundamentally is driving the pound lower. Right, I do think it's just like markets being market. You know, when we do have price action, sometimes you'll see some sort of wick back and forth, right? Not necessarily meaning a change in the overall momentum or direction of price, but just markets kind of like finding an equilibrium or balancing itself out. Right, nothing else to really be paying attention to right now. We do have CPI coming up, so that's tomorrow on Thursday. So markets are mainly paying attention to CPI and what we get for CPI coming up. And I would say that would be the main sort of the main thing that markets are looking at currently, right? So with CPI in view, I do think overall we shouldn't expect much from market movement right at this moment. But moving forward, however, I'd like to see what we do have for CPI and how markets react to that. So I do think I'm very much genuinely looking forward to seeing that. Right, so anybody with any questions, feel free to ask. But this is all right now. Really, this is all. I'm just gonna Alright, so it looks like I'm still in my positions for now. I have a price action movement, guys. I'm not gonna lie, it's disheartening to see when price, you have a general direction idea or whatever the case is, and then you just have moving back and forth, price action moving back and forth. You can't really control that. There's no real way to control that. It is what it is, but at the same time, you wish it wasn't. Let me know what you guys are looking at currently. What sort of trade ideas you do have, what it is that you're looking at for on the charts. All right. So this year in itself, I would say is a riskier trade setup because you are looking to see momentum continue to carry you up. But for whatever reason, the pound itself has been pretty weak at the start of the day trading London session. All right. Fundamentally, I have nothing for this as to why it is moving how it is. But price action wise, I would say that there isn't a change in momentum or anything like that that we're seeing as of yet. So I'm still more biased to the long side pound wise against like this year. Before earlier, we did have the yen being one of the stronger currencies. So actually, let's take a look at 80 JPY for instance. We had price actually came down pretty strongly. This was the starting of the week, so the 7th on Monday. We saw that price came down pretty strongly. Even on Tuesday, we continued that movement. And right around here, I did get into the trade buyers. This was on the 4-hour supportive level right here. Right, so you can see on 4-hour level, price maintained that and pushed up. So we are in a sort of a high, more so like a higher zone, right? So we saw price actually going to as we reformed back to the downside here, this could act as a a support, and price could actually push away from that. So that was one of my main ideas for that coming on in 1 hour. As I look at the candlestick, right, we could see those with rejection showing, all right, for whatever reason, price having a hard time to move past this area. We could mark this as a supportive zone, right, an area of interest to see price remove and kind of jump away from. And that was the trade idea behind this, and you can see price did that. Again, we are in a zone, right, on the higher time frame, so all of that contributed to the price action and the overall taking of this trade. But we had some good trades, right? So yeah, Euro GBP, this was a sell here. We had another sell, I think was from somewhere here, right? Multiple sells on this. We had the GBP USD, NZD CHF, right? We had 2 times we got into this. One right around here, right? So this was a sell for a 1 to 3. Right around here, we took a buy, right? Price came up here. We were able to get some profit off of that. And then it came back down here, and I'll show you guys within the this was a trade sent in a free Telegram as well. So let me just get that up. Alright, so you can see that right around there when price came back, I did say, alright, so we made some profits here, price fell back. Going with my full position sizing, as this is just markets being markets. No real reason as to expect a full swing here, a full swing turnaround here for myself. So I did advise the risk less because this is a riskier trade. But at the same time, the price action wise and the overall fundamentals, using that, we gathered that all right, price is just going to use this as a supportive zone more than likely, and there's a higher probability to see price continue pushing higher. And so said, so down here to come into this area, and it's still pushing. I do think that by the course of the day, as the day continues on, we'll be able to hit that profit target and come up with a full win, which is a 1 to 4 around. So good trades. Overall, just been a great week thus far. Look at the continuity trend. I do think I would not trade the Thursday because of CPI. So it just doesn't make sense going with the additional risk. Alright. Taking that unnecessary risk for what? No sense. Alright, so not much to note right now with what we have going on. I think it's just like I'm not always looking to see price actually fit into the zone itself. And then look for the price action continuation. Alright, those are the possibilities. Take a look at this. Price pulling back and forth. Pulling down this candle here. Alright, so these are the things that they control. Sometimes you just have to take with a grain of salt, right? Say JP card pulling down like this. Let's take a look at the other card cross trade. DXY. DXY is not even really moving. Take a look at oil. Oil pushed up a little bit here. So the card and oil do move together. So oil pushing up, card pushing. This performed really well. I actually was going to take a possible setup on this, but I personally don't trade industries, so I was looking at this as an area for entry. I would have been really nice because the profit margin for this, like USDT, is really great. So this would have been a great trade setup and return, but I didn't want to risk it. Yep. So for whatever reason, we're displaying some sort of bearishness right now on the risk assets. The card is performing, but I would take that with a grain of salt. Possibly best to actually see some results. Yeah, for right now, nothing on the charts. Everything just wicked back and forth. Another thing about most I think a lot of traders, like, it flies over their head. Sometimes whatever session you trade in, sometimes it doesn't make sense to be hasty, right? And that's something that we all could, basically, I think, agree on, that at some point we have been too hasty to enter a trade setup, and that has resulted in a lot of the eagerness to actually take a trade, right? And it's better to wait and show some patience rather than trying to rush the markets, because we have no control over that, right? So it makes more sense to just wait for things to happen and come to you rather than trying to force a trade, or you're looking on multiple different pairs to look for a trade setup, right? It's best to just let the markets do what they want. Sometimes price action may not be agreeable right now at this instant for you to take your trade, whether you have your idea or whatever the case is. So you may have to exit. Sometimes you might just see price ranging back and forth, right? Maybe it's best to just exit and wait for a better opportunity to do so, to enter back into the markets, right? And these are things I think that we all we are aware of, but at the same time we don't put into practice as we should, and that is what results us start being like break-even traders or non-profitable traders, or just shy of profitability, right? Just like noting that simple fact, I think it will help a lot of people understand that, all right, market should do what it wants sometimes. You're in this trading session, doesn't mean it's gonna go your way, right? You could wait the whole hour, 2 hours, whatever it is, doesn't mean it's gonna go your way. Something like this here, JPY, right? So we could wait and wait on this, and it doesn't have to go our way. All right, we're aware of that. We're keenly aware of that. So being aware of that, we know that, all right, I might just have to wait it out. Maybe not right now. Might not be the chance that I get to, a day trade. Maybe might pull back some more, right? And then maybe tomorrow it might come back into my area of like interest and to go long on the trade. And that's just how it is, right? So for any of you out there that feels like you need to force a trade or whatever the case is, I like to just like remind you that that isn't the case, right? You just sometimes showing a little patience will go a really long way. All right. So yeah, this is it for me right now. Let's see. Came on here. No views. It's okay. It's okay though. We're doing this out of the love of our heart, right? Yeah. So I don't know. Like, I'm really very much puzzled by this right now. I don't really know what's going on with the pound itself right now. There's nothing in terms of news guiding this sort of like movement. If anything, I would say, all right, we have been looking at China recently after the recent CPI numbers, and I can actually show you that here. So we had the inflation numbers, right? Inflation coming out positive, the year-to-year comparisons, right? So I didn't know China likes to manipulate the data very much, right? And kind of like downplay any sort of like economic anything bad. They like to downplay it a lot to the global economy overall, to all other countries and stuff, right? And this does affect the price movement on the charts. And I wasn't even aware of this until like very recently, like maybe last year or something like that. During the COVID period, just how much impact China's economy does have on the global, like the on a global economic scale. What China has going on does affect it a lot, almost like the same as the US, right? But not directly. It's more like indirect in terms of like supply chain issues, right? Because a lot of manufacturers, a lot of companies, they exist in China, and that is where they do a vast majority of their operations, right? So when there's supply chain distribution disturbances and stuff like that, it could cause price influctuations, whether it's between the cost of goods, right, products, services, whatever the case is, to rise and just show some like very high displacement, right? And I wasn't aware how highly impactful that is to the global economy. I'm sorry, my eyes scratching, guys. Right, but it is. So it is important to pay attention to it. And China is one of the least, right, forthcoming economies. So everything you have to take with a grain of salt. So that could be one of the contributors as to why the pound is kind of like dull at the moment, and the dollar is slightly up, right? But I just think that we would continue to see like dollar bearishness for the time being until CPI after CPI Thursday. At that point, we'll be able to have more of a clearer picture as what they expect, right? For the US economy, price has been coming down in terms of the inflation rate. But we do have high interest rates at this point, right? Inflation's been coming down. Still have a ways to go until we have hit that 2 to 3% area, right? But it's been coming down nicely, and we have the high interest rate currently. So they did say, I believe, one of the Fed representatives, right, did say by 2024 we can expect to see some rate cuts, right, where they will reduce interest rates because now there's no need to have it as high as inflation come back down, right? And that would show some bearish sentiment to the markets, right? So interest rate decreasing usually is bearish, but it will also mean that inflation now starts to, grow gradually, right? Not as fast as it did during the COVID period, and during the Russia war, with the different supply chain issues and things we did face, but gradually it would grow, and that would cause some sort of stimulation in the economy. So it's really a balancing act, but I just think that is something that we could really potentially see a lot. We could learn a lot from it, basically. All right. So that's sort of what I have going on thus far for the time being. Other than that, nothing much else to note. I said just these two trades I'm holding. I really wish price just stopped playing with me and actually just starts going back up into profit. And I know it would, but just not currently, I guess. Alright, so we are seeing the pullback here. Pound still being kind of bearish right now. So I really can't control that. Okay. What did we do to you, Pong, that you're treating us like this so poorly? I finally got stopped out of my GP USD position. I'm surprised it did pull below my entry right here. Alright, my stop loss, sorry. It is what it is. No sense in arguing about it. Still seeing some slight pullback. The card pulling back a lot. Yeah, I'm just cycling through the chart to see what's going on, guys. Okay, even with the pullbacks right now, still does not change my general bias at this point of time. It was great as a trade. Right, just fluttering back and forth. Good day. Okay, so why would JPY possibly break the high? Alright. My question is to you, right? Why would it respect it as the high itself and pull lower? Like what it is about the yen, right? Gives it the currency, or at least in your perspective. What it is about the yen that you currently would contribute it as being a bullish currency currently. Alright. Another thing why I would say it's important to note fundamentals in some cases, right? So for me, the reason why the pound would push, or why JPY would actually break its own high currently, is if we take a look at the overall momentum and, well, thus far the price action movement, we can see that it is very strong to the upside, right? So that is the first thing I think is important to note. All right. Other than that, you want to note that also, this is just looking at price action purely right now, right? So one, we're in this consolidation zone, right? We are in a zone, that being this area right here. Now, the only two places that price could go and where we'll get like the best possible trade setup or movement is one, if it breaks its own high here, we see that movement here. At that point, volume will continue pushing price into the next high, which will be this resistance area right here. And if you scroll to the left, you can see that, right? And same thing here, if price manages to push down and if prices continue lower, you want to see a break of this zone right here first to the downside, right below all of this noise here. And at that point, momentum could carry us and we could get continuation right into this area here. Sorry. Right, so right into this area here. All right. So this is just looking at the price action side of things. Now, fundamentally, right, we're looking at the differences between the currency strength themselves, between the pound and the yen. The pound is basically, it's stronger right now currently, right? just looking at the overall price action analysis of the current, the past different yen pairs, right? So looking at GP, JPY, we look at EJ. I don't have EJ on this chart, but we look at NCD, JPY, we look at the CAD and CHF and AD, JPY, right? We go see that the yen strength itself is just like it's displayed from market uncertainty, really, as well as if we have anything in terms of like USD news being sort of bearish or bearish in tone, that's when you really see that push in the yen itself, right? So that's what we had going on here the Monday to the Tuesday, right? Why we had that push downwards here, the stronger side with the yen being more favored. But you can see as that basically died down, whatever it was, momentum or whatever the case was, markets took it, settled with it, then price actually corrected itself, right? And this is across all of them, right? So that was here too. That's why this was one of the trades I got into as well, right? For the CAD and the CHF, it's the same thing, but slight differences, because with the CAD, you have more fundamental impacts, as you would have been focusing on oil too. So as oil moved, the CAD moves, because they do move in tandem with each other sometimes, because Canada does transport, I think it's 39% of oil to the US. So when you do have news for oil come out for the US economy, it does affect the CAD in some cases, right? But it's the same thing, like it's the same sort of movement that you've seen across the board, and all of that is contributed to the fundamentals. Now, something else to note with the yen itself, right? We are expecting to see some policy changes from the Bank of Japan, right? Something that doesn't usually happen very too often, but it is noted, and it is displaying some sort of, I would say, some bearishness in some instances for the yen itself on the longer period. That is something that we could expect to see moving forward. And I would tell you guys this in more detail. I just don't know off of the top of my hand exactly what was stated. All I know is like increasing policy by 0.5%, sorry, 0.5 to 0.5, right, to where it currently stands right now, right? So all of that actually displays on the price action movement itself. So for me, especially just moving in today, right, price action wise, consolidation zone, right? Just note that big zone. You want the best possible trade setup. You're either looking for a break to the downside, break to the upside. You have a break to the upside, right? Price closes above here, then momentum is going to carry you through the course of the day into the next high, right? That is a high probability scenario. It doesn't necessarily have to happen that way, but the probability of it happening is a lot higher than it not happening, right? Especially if you do get a break to the upside here. And this is the thing, we work with probabilities when we're doing, trading, right? Vice versa, if prices continue lower, you look for a break below this consolidation here, right? Momentum will continue carrying you down back into the major zone, which will be somewhere right around here, right? And so price action trading, a little bit of fundamentals, and you would understand in time, you just have to apply it. But again, something else to note is that we're focusing mainly on CPI coming up tomorrow, so we may see some influx on the price action movement being here or there for the time being, right? That is being such a case for my GP USD trade. Kind of salty about this position I took, right? I do have a buy stop on this position here again, not gonna lie, letting you guys know straight up, I do have a buy stop here. I'm looking for it to get triggered and price to continue moving up and hit me out, right? These are the major highs right here, so I'm looking for price to retrace and come back up here. All right, obviously not without some sort of resistance like we did have here, but yeah, overall that's what I expected. Yeah, and it's always good to have like a different outlook, or different perspective on things, and may help you with your own trading too. And the CHF, same thing, just leaving it for price to wake up and just you know, put me onto this or come back down to like a 1-1 win. It is what it is, right? So that is it for now. Honestly, nothing much else to really be taking a look at. So I'm more biased alongside here, right, on the pound. So this here, I'm just gonna leave it, put a buy stop. So just have a buy stop initiated right into the area. Once price triggers, then we just look to see that continuation, manage risk as best as possible. If it pushes lower, then I just miss the trade. That's it. That's it. If I can miss the trade, that's nothing. But yeah, for now, this is sort of my perspective on the current price action and the market itself. All right. So I'm not a person that likes to keep you guys here long if there's nothing going on. I'm gonna end it here. Overall, this is my expectancy for the price action to play out. GBUSD, same thing. And we're gonna note that I said this. Alright? We're gonna note that this is what the homie said. And we're gonna see if it actually plays out. Or if it doesn't. If it doesn't, then oh shit. If it does, yes. Hooray. Alright. So that's it for me right now, guys. Do have a pleasant trading day. Enjoy the rest of your week. Again, we will take a look at CPI tomorrow, I think. I may or may not come online for it. I may just post it in the Discord and Telegram groups. But yeah, we will see. We'll see. Alright. So thank you very much for joining in. Really do appreciate it, guys. And hope you all have a great trading day and the rest of the week.